Hey guys, it's Matador from the Venusian Arts. I want to talk to you guys today about a very important topic called microcalibration. And Jen and I, say hello.
Hello.
We're going to demonstrate various scenarios that occur in the field or in day two settings such as this to help bring that concept to life. I'm going to go into it technically, and then I'm going to go and reenact various scenarios for you. At a very high level, microcalibration is understanding what to do and when to do it. In every interaction, there are four primary types of communication that we've identified thus far. The first is something called an indicator of interest, acronym IOI. Second are IODs, which stand for indicators of disinterest.
And they're negs.
Exactly. Negs are one type of IOD, and there's others, and we'll get into that. The third is something called a DHV, which is demonstrations of higher value. These are, this is evidence to a person that you have survival value and survival and replication value for them. The fourth is something called a DLV, which is the reverse of a DHV, which communicates that there is some attribute of your personality or being that provides a hindrance to survival and replication value. So those are the four primary types. Consider these like chess pieces. These are your chess pieces, and by understanding the model, you will know when and where to throw your chess pieces. Have you ever, maybe some of you guys are at this stage in your game where you've prepared a stacking sequence, meaning you have one gambit after another and you've memorized them and you go out into the field and you try to just go into the script. Natural, maybe, but it's still a script, and you just stack gambit after gambit. And sometimes an interaction will go well, and sometimes it won't. And you always wonder, why? Why did I mess this one up? And sometimes you do very well, but you don't really know why. You backwards rationalize, I had a good night as opposed to a bad night. By understanding microcalibration, you'll know exactly where you messed up, and you'll know exactly what to do to improve yourself the next time around.
Microcalibration is a model that pretty much entirely replaces the routine stacking concept.
Exactly. It can help simplify things in your mind, and you don't, in fact, it makes things easier. In fact, by understanding it, your game is slowed down immensely. It's so much more natural, so much more smooth. It doesn't look try-hard. It's just very clean and beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I'll be quite honest with you, it is a fairly advanced concept, and it takes a while to perfect, but once it's done right, you'll be lethal. So let's get into it. So I went over the four basic types of communication. Now let's go over the when and where, or what to do with these various responses. At every moment in the interaction, you're getting either an IOI or an IOD. We call these pings and pongs. So, for example, if I say, let's use a very common opener. I don't want to get creative here and now. So let's do something that's very known in the community, like Who Lies More, unrooted. Hey guys, Who Lies More? That's an IOI I have thrown to the set. I'm basically requesting data. Now, at that precise moment, two things are going to happen. At that precise moment, two things are going to happen. I'm either going to get an IOI back or an IOD back. Now, given the scenario that we're typically in, meaning we're in a public gathering, we're in a club, we're in a lounge, and we see a beautiful girl who's been hit on many times, statistically, she's going to think, because of the frame that we're hitting on her, it may throw an IOD back. This IOD back may not be verbal, it may be physical, it may be expressed in her body language. So let's look at it like this. Hey guys, Who Lies More? Even the slightest turn of their shoulder back is an IOD. Now, rather than go and throw the opener and throw a mandatory neg, I wait and see if I get this physical IOD back. So, if I do, here's my response. Hey guys, Who Lies More? I only have a second. I have to get back to my friends. So, what I did was, is I threw an IOI, which was Who Lies More? I'm requesting data. And then I see, before I even see, or before I feel, before I even slightly feel, that I'm getting an IOD back, I'll throw an IOD of my own to suppress that, which in this case is the false time constraint, which is a subset of an IOD. IODs can be negs, false time constraints, roll-offs, or any other type of subcommunication that expresses that you're losing interest in them.
Or compliance breaks.
Exactly.
She requests something from you and you say, no.
Exactly. Or rejecting value even. For example, a girl in A3 may be telling you a story, she's DHBing to you, and if you pong back an IOI after every DHB offering, it may come across that you're too easy or she's winning you over too easy. So what I like to do is throw a monkey wrench in it once in a while. I'll listen to one story, and if there's significant value in it, I'll give a genuine IOI back. But if she says something that isn't up to par, I'll say, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, with a smile, just to keep a playful overtone to it. But what I did was I rejected that value offering because I want more, which is another compliance test I'm throwing. And I'm going to make it easier for her to come back with something else or requalify that story. So to get back to the model, at every moment something is happening, an IOI or an IOD, okay? Now, there are sequences in this algorithm that you must follow depending on the communication type you get back.
My suggestion would be to construct the parameters of the fact that this is a timeline, you know, from the moment you open until you don't see her, you are on time. There is a timeline, and there are IOIs that pop in, IODs that pop in, and this whole IOD, IOI, and DHV and DLV compliance testing that goes back and forth among any two or more humans is, God damn it. It's not for me. I'm just telling it for you, so you can say this. It happens about 3 to 5 seconds. Right? There's always something taking place.
So we have at every moment in the interaction, there is something happening. At every moment, you're either getting an IOI or you're getting an IOD back. Okay? We call this pinging, pings and pongs. For example, if I throw an IOI, that's an IOI ping that I'm throwing. What I get back is a pong. So if I say, hey guys, if I say something like, hey guys, who lies more? Throwing an IOI request, I'm requesting data, and if they comply, I'll either get an IOI pong back. Now, here is something that happens right in between. If I say, hey guys, who lies more? Now, if I'm in the frame that I'm the next guy in a public gathering because 20 guys have approached this woman, a beautiful woman, and I throw the IOI, and I should be able to see evidence of the pang that occurred. You have the pong, which is me throwing it. You have the pang, which is the internal reaction the girl is feeling.
An emotional pang.
Right. You have the IOI pong that I'm throwing. I'm sorry. You have the IOI pong that I'm throwing. You have the pang, which is the emotional reaction that is occurring. It happens very quickly. Then the pong is the manifestation of that pang that could happen physically or verbally. So for example, hey guys, who lies more? Guys or girls? Hey guys, who lies? So for example, hey guys, who lies more? Guys or girls? Now, they're going to receive that. They're going to say, oh, guys or girls. Well, what do I know? I know that they passed my compliance test, which is requesting value. I know they throw an IOI back. And I know that the pang was that they didn't feel discomfort, or it was a relatively good emotion. Now, it could have gone this way. Hey guys, who lies more? I don't know. Okay, so what happened? I threw the IOI. They felt something. It resulted in them showing me disinterest and not complying with my request for value. So if you look at this interaction, this 2 to 3 second interaction, it's a sequence of IOIs and IODs. Now, this occurs throughout the timeline of the interaction between opening a girl and starting a relationship with her. And as we go through the phases, we're using microcalibration to get from one phase to the next, rather than just stacking. Because stacking sometimes works if it just so happens the value levels between you and the girl, meaning her perceived value versus your perceived value, is such that
two DHBs creates attraction, and then two or three A3 qualifiers is enough for her to feel that you are actually interested in her. I mean, that's a very hit or miss type approach. Microcalibration will completely take it to a next level. So to get back to where I was, you have these two types of interactions. Now, based upon the response, the IOI or the IOD that you get back from the girl, there are various sequences of IOIs and IODs that you can throw back. I call these, they happen in chunks, if you will. So in this instance, I threw the IOI, I got an IOD back, so I'm going to throw an IOD back. And what am I going to do? Hey guys, who lies more, guys or girls? I only have a second. I have to get back to my friends. And then I'm going to go into the body of the opener, and I'm going to get off of it as quickly as possible because I know I don't have much time. And then I'm going to immediately DHB. Hey guys, who lies more, guys or girls? I've got to get back to my friends in a second. His buddy over there, and you're very little. And then I'm going into an A2 piece. I'm throwing another neg, and I'm going into an A2 piece because I know I'm getting IODs off the bat, and I need to start demonstrating value and continuously neg in order for them to have a different perception about me, because I know what they think my intentions are, or I know what they think my relative value is.
On top. So let's use Styles' jealous girlfriend, fairly common community opener, and reenact various approach scenarios. Now, let's say I'm talking with my wing. We're having a great time. We don't look needy. We don't look predatorial. We're smiling. Life is good. And there's a two set of lovely ladies over here. What I want to do is I want to stay congruent with my opener, what I'm logically saying and what my body is saying. The wrong way to do it is, hey guys, who do you think lies more, guys or girls? At that moment, I'm saying something neutral, but my body is communicating way too much interest. In fact, it would be better if I just went direct in this instance, because girls resent the disingenuous aspect of it. Might as well just say, hey, you guys are very lovely, I just wanted to meet you. As opposed to coming up with some jealous girlfriend story, and your body is really in their space, and they're feeling your presence, and they're starting to feel an emotional reaction, and will communicate back an IOD. So if I were typically, well, these are my friends, but typically what would happen if I did something like that, hey guys, who do you think lies more, guys or girls? They're not going to come smiling and respond back, but they will. This slightest gesture of them going like this communicates how they're feeling.
That's an IOD pang.
Communicates how they're feeling. I threw the IOI, their bodies felt a pang, which in this case manifested itself in an IOD, and the physical manifestation of it was the slightest body rocking out on their part. Okay? Now, what do I know at this moment? Well, first, I know not to do it again, but I've done it wrong so many times that I won't even put myself in this situation. Why not do it like this? If I'm talking with my buddy right here, I can keep my feet in this direction. I won't even have to move it. I can just shift my balance. Same two set of girls, same starting position. I don't need to go like this to talk. I can simply go, hey guys, who do you think lies more, guys or girls?
Guys.
Right on that moment that you start throwing that IOD, you're saving yourself from the IOI.
Exactly. So, how would I do that? Well, let's say that there's a two set right here. I don't even have to turn it all. I can just shift my balance and do something like this. Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex? I've got to get back to my friends in a second. His buddy found pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend underneath the bed, and she said, burn them. We're going to break up with you. What's up with that?
You see how he starts walking away?
Okay.
That's body rocking, that's an IOD.
So let's try that one more time. I can open. Now this is exactly, let's get down to exactly what's happening here. I'll open.
I get 1 millisecond for them to give me the benefit of the doubt. Is this guy hitting on me? What's going on here? I'm going to reinforce my neutral stance with my body by a couple mechanisms. One is a physical IOD, which is a false time constraint, by saying, hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex? I'm not going to wait for a response. I'm not going to be reactive in this moment. I'm just going to assume the cell and go forward. So here's my friend. Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures, who had, let's try that again. Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex? I've got to get back to my friends in a second. My buddy, his girlfriend, found pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend underneath the bed. And she's like, burn them, or I'm going to break up with you. Is that normal? Okay, a couple things are occurring here. First, I'm not showing too much interest by staying over the shoulder. Second, I have to throw the opener, the hook of the opener. But before I get a response, I'm going to hedge my bets, so to speak, and throw in the false time constraint, which is an IOD. So they know they know at that moment, okay, this guy's not going to be here bothering us for the rest of the night. So it will suppress any IOD on their part. I don't want to get this. I don't want to get their body. I don't want to get this motion here, because once you're like this and they've locked you out, you have very limited options. If you're this guy, hey, excuse me, you know, you don't want to get there in the first place.
But you can respond if you start, here's a way to protect yourself. If they do start moving away, as they start doing that, you can tap one on the shoulder and say, hey, knucklehead, thanks, show's over here. Wow, you know, you can dress her up, can't take her anywhere. And back to me. My ex,
Yeah.
right?
Various contingencies to get out of it. But let's take a clean path to not get into it. So, where was I? So, we're talking. I throw the opener. I throw the false time constraint. And I supplement it with this physical gesture of body rocking out as I'm talking over the shoulder. And from the perceiver's perspective, it's so much more stress-free than this guy. Agreed? It's natural, it's organic. We're three human beings talking, as opposed to this clunky, cliche boyfriend, girlfriend, or boy-girl dynamic occurring. So let's try that one time from top to bottom in no narration, but just the various movements back and forth. So I'm talking with my wing. Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex? Gonna get back to my bro in a second. His buddy, his girlfriend found pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend underneath the bed. And she's like, burn them or I'm gonna break up with you. What's up with that? And this is where I'm gonna stop. I've thrown enough IODs to communicate my disinterest or limit the amount of interest I have in them. Now, they haven't locked me out yet, and they will come back with an IOI, which is some kind of response. Okay? So after I throw it, they'll start to elaborate on what they think of the scenario. Now, as they do that, what is actually occurring, a couple things are happening. It's evidence of their current emotional state. It's evidence of what they think about me, how I'm making them feel, and it's evidence of their comfort levels. I know that right away. So as they engage my attempt to initiate the chat, I will return suit and I will follow suit and show slightly more open body language to face them, and now I'm in the set.
So they throw you an IOI and you return with an IOI.
Exactly, and their IOI, not sexual, not even in interest, a legitimate interest-based IOI, but an IOI insofar as just willing to talk to another human being. And how does that look? Well, they'll stay here. Their face they may have a smile, they may look civil, non-hostile, and start to talk to you. Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex? I'm going to get back to my friends in a second. His girlfriend, one of my buddy's girlfriend, found pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend underneath the bed. And she's like, burn them or I'm going to break up with you. What's up with that? Okay, you guys can respond. Okay?
That's weird.
Okay, so I got a that's weird and something else from Casey. Great, she answered the question, but more importantly, she's willing to play. Now, let's start from there. That's weird, okay? So, what's up with that?
She's right.
Really? That's what I'm waiting for. This is the IOI. That's how subtle it is. Don't get carried away. This is not the IOI of all IOIs, but it's a starting point. As I get that, what I'm going to do is return suit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow suit and open up my body language and address them, but not violate their space. This is too uncomfortable. But maybe stop right here and talk to them and lean back. Still lean back. Okay, so in this scenario, I'm going to do a very typical approach scenario, then break down the IOIs and the IODs that are occurring. Okay, so here I am, I'm talking with my buddy. Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex laying around? I've got to get back to my friends in a second. His girlfriend found pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend underneath the bed, and she's like, burn them or I'm gonna break up with you. Is that normal?
Yeah.
Why?
Because why would you have pictures of your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend with you?
Are you guys like best friends or something?
Yeah.
I could tell.
Uh-huh.
You make the exact same facial expressions. Typically, you'll get an emotional reaction here. It's a good enough time to come back in with my body. You're the plotter. You're the instigator. You're the bad one. And I'll typically point to the obstacle as the bad one. It's a little bit of a compliment, meaning, well, according to theory, girls want to be the bad girl. So I'll compliment the girl that I feel who needs the compliment more, as opposed to the girl that everybody typically pursues.
Thanks.
No,
know.
not indicative of these girls, but I'm going to make you the obstacle, Casey, just for
The friend.
yeah.
The target's
Yeah.
friend.
And you look like the bad one. Me and you would never get along. Too similar. I'm not going to take your shit. You're not going to take my shit. If we rolled together, we'd be constantly fighting. We'd fight. We'd have makeup sex. We'd fight. We'd be in the hospital, psychiatric care within 2 weeks. Okay. This is very dry, of course. Throw the false time constraint. I body rock out just to pad myself for the typical IODs that I would get. I see the IOIs coming from them. I follow suit, return with my body language. Now I'm in the set. Going to get off my opener as quick as possible and go into an A2 piece. A good A2 piece that's fairly consistent is, I believe it's Styles' best friends test. You guys are best friends, I could tell.
How?
Make the exact same facial expression. And because they've heard this already, there's not typically
Each of them.
the emotional response at the precise moment, but trust me, you will get one. And what we like to do is right when you get a laughter, an emotional jump, I'd like to throw in a body rock right then and there. Because I've made them feel a certain way, now I'm going to make them feel at a very real yet very micro level what it feels like for me to walk away. Okay? I'll repeat that. I'm going to give them an IOD when they give me an IOI. When they give me an attraction spike, a legitimate attraction spike. What does that look like? Well, it looks like when your gambit hits and laughter erupts and the energy of the set increases. That's when I'm going to throw in a body rock, as if I'm about to leave.
To protect the IOI, right? Like you've gained that, good, and now release.
Well, not so much to protect the IOI. I want to implement that push-pull effect because I've got a strong emotion here, and I want to give. I just gave something. I gave the string. They've jumped. I want to pull it away now with an IOD. And when I do that, I want them to feel a sense of loss. Yes, as dramatic as it sounds, somebody's making you feel good with their presence. They walk away, and you feel you wish they stayed and talked to you. I want them to feel that a couple times.
And that response will be they're turning a little bit in towards you.
Right. It could be that, or it could be many other things. It could be if my gambit hits, I get a very distinct emotional response. I body rock out. They may turn even more, or they may throw an IOI to hook me back in. So let's use this IOI. Let's say that I have, girl made this for me. Let's say that I have, she notices, can you tie this for me real quick? Just, yeah, real quick. Yeah. Okay. Let's say that I'm about to body rock out. They may throw IOIs just to keep me back in. And they may throw IOIs as I'm walking away to let me know, look, I'm putting myself in your path. It's okay for you to engage me. But let's pick it up with the best friends test. Throw the best friends test. Laughter erupts. I may walk away as if the whole purpose of my being here was never to talk to them. They just happen to be there. As I'm initiating that body rock sequence, they may say, she may say, let's use a typical IOI. Oh, where'd you get that?
Where'd you get that?
This? My ex-girlfriend in LA, I just moved from LA to Miami, made this for me. She was she's trying to become a fashion designer. So I said, look, a lot of people have these wristbands, and I don't want to be just another person with a wristband. So make something unique. And she came up with this sign, or this little insignia, that basically, whatever, I'm going to go into whatever interesting fodder that will provide some kind of significance that this piece means to me, that a girl expressed her interest, that a girl took the time to make for me. And I deliberately wore it for that purpose.
And that's a DHV spike.
Yeah, and that's a DHV, exactly, that's a DHV spike. Why? So, what?
Why?
It's a DHV spike because I'm the type of guy that an attractive girl who's in the fashion industry, didn't say she's beautiful, but typically people associate beauty with that industry, would take the time to sew this for me. I mean, this is, I mean, as girls, I'm sure you can relate that that is evidence of the type of effect that I would have on another woman, which is indicative of the type of man I could be to you, or the type of man that I am at this moment. So, if she throws that, that's an IOI, a very distinct IOI. Now, I'm not going to, I'm definitely not going to neg at this moment. I mean, if your routine, that's why I said in the beginning, it's so much cleaner than a routine stack, because your routine stack could have called for you to throw a stupid neg right at this moment. And that's the last thing you want to do. You don't want to punish the sincere communication of interest that she's giving me. So as I body rock out, she may say, where'd you get that? So throw it.
Where'd you get that?
What, this? I just recently moved from LA to Miami. My ex-girlfriend is a fashion designer in LA. And she thought it'd be really cool if I wore wristbands. She said it'd probably look good on me. I was like, yeah, but I don't want to be like every other guy with a wristband, so make something unique. So she came up with this, and I didn't want the buttons because that's just too, you know, Walgreenish. So she made a nice little leather strap, and this insignia means whatever you want it to mean. Just provide interesting, soulful, meaningful, emotionally based fodder around this piece. So that's the IOI. I gave her a DHV. I rewarded her for that IOI. I'm in the set. They're clearly opened up to me. It's a two set, so I'm not going to try to isolate. But if my wing is there, he knows. My wing, love drop, or mystery, depending on whoever's there in this context, will know that they're ready to be merged into the set. But as I'm here right now, I've just returned a DHV, and there's a natural tendency for guys to want to keep DHVing and feel that validation of being able to make girls giggle, laugh, and make them be into you. But you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to DHV. I'm going to allow a timeout to occur, a vacuum. And yes, the vacuum feels uncomfortable. You ever experience those pregnant pauses in the conversation? There's two types of people. There's the people that will let it ride and feel comfortable with it. Then there's the type of people who have to fill that pregnant pause because it feels so uncomfortable to them. They'll say whatever, they'll just poop words and throw something in there. What I like to do is, let's take it from this section, say, what is that?
What is that?
This piece right here, and cut, I'm going to fast forward, I'm going to throw the DHV back that I just told you. And then I'm going to stall.
You feel it?
Yeah. I don't like it.
Right.
Yeah, so you would,
I
if,
would,
if
yes.
you weren't threatened by his presence, you would actually want to fill that awkward pause. See, for Matador, it's a pregnant pause, purposeful pregnant pause. For you, it becomes an awkward pause. You need to fill it.
Right.
And as you fill it, that's an IOI, and now he can respond.
Let's try this. Let's take it from just right there, and we're going to go into the pregnant pause. But I'm not going to be creepy about it. My face, look, smiling is very important. A mistake I made when I started out. For some reason, I got it in my head that it's cool to look tough all the time. No, I like to be, it's so much more fun to be playful. Life is much better. Try it.
And sets open a lot easier because of the non-threatening nature of that type of approach.
In addition, people will gravitate towards you more. I mean, you want to have a life filled with quality people. Smiling is a very important component of that. I don't know if you guys could see it from this angle, but when I actually threw the opener, I smiled. A natural smile, not a salesman smile, but a warm, natural, childlike smile. I was really giving in that smile. And I'm not looking at them like, well, yeah, I know that they're attractive. These are girls I would like to meet. But I'm not looking at them like objectifying them as hot girls, win, win, win. No, these are just human beings. They're just neutral right now. Really, at least try to emotionally get there. Hey guys, like you'd be talking to your sister or cousins or female cousins. Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex? Hey guys, would you ever date somebody who kept pictures of their ex laying around? And then you're into it, you body rock out, she throws, hey, what's this? I'll come back in, reward with a DHV that will have the pre-selection spike built into it, which is my ex-girlfriend in the fashion industry took the time to make this for me. I'll give it to her, then I'm going to stall right here. Watch my body language. I'm going to stall right here. I'm going to keep a pleasant disposition on my face, a smile, so the atmosphere is light and playful, and just do this. So, just so as I go, just go throw the IOI. Okay? Let's tie this tight real quick.
That's a compliance test.
Right.
Do this for me. Give me value. Thank you.
So I'm going to body rock out, throw it.
Where'd you get that?
This. My ex-girlfriend in LA was in the fashion industry, and she said that I would look really good with a arm bracelet. But everybody's got an arm bracelet, and I like to be ahead of the trends, not a follower. So I said, okay, make me one, but make it unique. So she got rid of the buttons, which is very Walgreenish, and put a unique insignia on it. And this means whatever you want it to mean, and that's my DHV offering back. Here's where I'll stall. Do you guys feel it? Do you guys feel it? Right, they feel it. It's uncomfortable, but I will smile. And do you feel the urge to say something to me? Okay. And they're feeling the urge to say something, and it may manifest itself. Well, here's where microcalibration comes into play. Just by stalling, and the slightest increase in smiling on her face lets me know where I'm at. Okay, so okay.
Oh, what are you talking?
Okay. What does this mean right here? This means I'm feeling uncomfortable, but they're not going anywhere. This is a passive IOI. So I can do a couple things. I can reward with another DHV, or I can wait for them to show me an IOI back. Why would I want to wait for the latter scenario? Because think about this. If you're a good-looking guy in the community, there are a lot of good-looking guys in the community. Have you ever gone into a set and open and go into A2 and DHV, and the set doesn't go anywhere? I've saw it with my own two eyes. A very good-looking guy will go into the set, the girl will be immediately on him, then he'll stop back and play around with A2 pieces. No, what has happened is that the girl's perception of his value is significantly higher than his perception of his value, and he just reenacted evidence of, or he just gave evidence of what he thought of his value relative to hers, and it turned her off, and she rolled off and went somewhere else. She gave him the benefit of the doubt. He wasn't congruent with the character. Simple as that. Imagine a rock star, a legitimate rock star, coming up to you and supplicating to you or vying too hard for your attention. You would think there's something wrong with this guy. This is not congruent of a high value, high social status behavior. Okay? So by understanding IOIs and IODs at the micro level, you'll know what to do. So I'll time out. She will smile. I will come back with the DHV. You're a character.
Still makes me uncomfortable.
Right. Let's say, like, I stall. I get a slight smile from you. Oh, I got a great one. Throw it. I come back in. I stall. Oh, you're a C.
I'm a C.
You have a C smile. My ex-girlfriend in LA, she wanted to be an A-level actress, but she could only get B-level parts. You know, like Shannon Tweed, king of the B movies, she could only get those. And she came to the conclusion that in order to be successful in Hollywood, you have to have one of these smiles that go from ear to ear, like all the models do on the cover of all the magazines. So she had surgery to change her smile from a U to a C. A C goes all the way across. A U kind of stops short. You look like a horse, basically, when you smile. And she said people perceive you as friendlier if you have a C and perceive you as unfriendly if you have a U. That's styles C's versus U's. Now, why did I say she had a C versus a U? Well, I'm rewarding her in this instance. But if I wanted to DHV and neg at the same time, I could have started off with her having a U smile. But as I give that DHV offering, guess what I'm going to do again? I'm going to body rock out as I'm about to leave. Okay? And I'll
Can
get...
I ask something real quick?
Sure.
So that little thing that you just said, like the C and the U smile, is that like something all you're teaching, or like that's just an interesting fact? Because no guys would ever say that. Would you? I've never heard that before. Have
Me
you?
either, no.
It's
So like,
it's a story that worked once with a pickup artist that I know.
oh.
He did it again and again a few times because it worked once. It
Yeah.
became great. He taught it to some others. I ended up teaching it to others. Just as an example of a routine that you can use. Ultimately, you know, most students, after 6 weeks of running this stock material, will swap it out for their own unique material because there's lots of stories. But it's a great example, and when we teach it, we know that if it doesn't work, if it doesn't hit, that
Don't use
it's
it.
the student's fault, not the material, because we know that material works consistently.
So, right, I throw the piece back. It has a DHV spike built into it. Now, that's two pieces of evidence that I've given to you guys to let you kind of formulate a story as to what type of man I am. Fun, playful, not threatening, not creepy, preserving your comfort levels. Every time you ask for value, you start, because that will hit. It's massively field tested. Every time I come back in and give you something, you feel good emotions. That's the second time I'm going to body rock out again. And you will subconsciously, if not consciously, cling for my presence and pull me back in. We call this cat string theory. The giving of the DHV is the throwing out of the yarn. The cat jumping on the yarn is the acceptance of the DHV. Now, if I leave the yarn there, guess what? Everybody gets bored and goes home, right? But if I pull the yarn, guess what? The cat will come and go after it. So if I sit here and just DHV, 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 it's too try hard. But if I give it to you, and then I roll off, as if that's innate, it's not, this is not a show for you. This is an innate quality of my person. This is an innate characteristic of my personality. And I'm still in my own world. As beautiful as you guys are, you're not the center of my universe yet. You need to work for it. And the value levels are starting to get set here. Make sense? So, at a very, went over this scenario to demonstrate just the complexity of all the IOIs and IODs that are going back and forth. This is a chunk, if you will, okay? And the timeout and the rolling off are crucial. Timeouts don't feel good, I'll admit it. You know, internally I'll say, oh shit, I hope they don't leave. Or I hope they come back. But you have to do it, just trust me. You have to install the timeout. Can you tie this tight? It's gross.
Compliance test.
LD,